little bit different look on the car talk. Get this food container out of the way there. I'm currently on my way home from my job, and I was just having a lot of thoughts run through my head while I was driving, and I didn't want to just put it on my private Snapchat story or whatever. I don't want to be a cornball. And then I realized that I make YouTube videos now, so that's what I figured I would do. I just wanted to talk about a few different things actually. I don't. I may put this with my leg day tomorrow. We'll see. I may just do this on its own. But just a few things that have been on my mind lately, and two of them having to do with bodybuilding, and one just kind of being a general life thing. The bodybuilding stuff. Ever since I really locked in and started taking it a lot more serious, and really kind of deciding that bodybuilding is the route I want to take, and I'm going to do anything that I can to get there. I've just felt a little bit lonely, I guess, in that sense. And now I don't mean just because I decided I wanted to take bodybuilding serious that is why I'm feeling lonely, but more about the fact that when you have such a big dream, people are very small minded. And so whenever you tell somebody, it almost makes you feel embarrassed. That's something that I've noticed. You almost feel you almost feel embarrassed to say to someone when they ask you, what's your plan? Where do you see yourself in the next few years? Because I'm in that age category where, families asking, oh, what's the plan? What are you doing? And, I don't tell them what my actual plan is. I just kind of tell them, oh, graduate, get my health degree, go into physical therapy or occupational therapy. Because I feel silly saying that I want to become a professional bodybuilder. Small minds can't comprehend big dreams. And it's not just family. I feel like I've grown apart from a lot of people that I used to call close friends, or maybe not close friends, but just friends, because we don't have anything in common anymore. But I wanted to say that it's okay. It is okay to feel that way, and that's something I've been trying to remind myself. Something I've been trying to remind myself when I feel alone, when I feel a little bit, by myself. Um, that it's okay, that it's normal. And now I don't mean just be okay with being a recluse and just don't talk to anybody. And, that's not healthy for me. I still have my close friends that I talk to on a regular enough basis. But I guess what I'm really saying is you can't be afraid to feel a little secluded, really. I have this big bag right here. It's a duffel bag that I take with me anytime I have to leave my house for an extended amount of time, because that's what I pack my meals in. And every time I go to work, or every time I go to do my side job refereeing, I get comment, oh, you got that bag again. Oh, this guy in his bag, Xander, always has his meals with him. Why don't you just eat food like the rest of us do? Why don't you just have some pizza instead? Oh man, I don't want that. I don't know. It just, I don't know. It's just something new for me. The feeling of just kind of feeling like I don't fit in. I'm not. I've never been Mr. Popular by any means, but I also wouldn't say that I've ever felt excluded in a way. And so I'm kind of learning that it's okay to feel that way. it's been an adjustment, but I just wanted to share that and tell you guys that it's okay as well. Anybody that's watching this, anybody that's feeling like they're like unsure or doubting their abilities or their dream that they have just because they're going through a little bit of pushback or the cold shoulder from people that you thought were your close friends that like you guys don't want to hang out with me anymore. I don't understand what's going on. And they'll just say, "Oh, what are you talking about? We, we were just figuring that you wouldn't want to." I don't know. It's kind of a whole thing, but it's okay. And to build off of that, kind of going into the whole being true to yourself, kind of, I don't remember if I posted the video or not yet, or talking about it, but just kind of like I talk about when you're getting ready for a heavy lift, be yourself. Don't don't conform to the other people's perception just because it's the social norm or that's what you're supposed to do when you're a kid. Like, I don't know, I could never find myself buying into that whole mentality. Oh, you're only a kid once. Well, you're only in your 20s once. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna make the most out of it. If the way that you want to spend your life is you know chasing very, very brief happiness, very brief pleasure. I mean, that's your prerogative. That's up to you. But I can't personally understand it. I'm not gonna act like I didn't have my fun my freshman year of college. Even some in my sophomore. But it's just I feel like after a few months, 2 years of that, I realize it's just not fulfilling. It's not. It's kind of like you know thinking about when you were a kid and you had to wait for Christmas or a birthday or something to get that toy that you'd been wanting all year long. You'd been talking about it nonstop. Just think about, do you remember how good that felt? How good Christmas felt when you were a kid and you didn't have Amazon at your fingertips to just be able to order whatever it is and have it at your doorstep 2 days later, the next day? Delayed gratification. It's definitely something that people are losing out on more and more every year, every day, every decade. Um, Somebody really close to me, I've lost him, not to death or anything, but just love this person a lot, and that was just something we always would disagree on. Was their their point of view was living while they're young to the fullest, and that entailed their definition of living was basically just kind of not having any. Their view is just kind of, I wouldn't say not having self control, but just kind of acting upon impulse always. Like, oh, this is something I want to do now, but how could it negatively affect the relationships around me or the good thing that I have going here in this situation? Yes, but then they would excuse it with, well, I'm only going to be this age once. I only have this limited amount of time, and I just don't understand it because it's not true. Yes, you're only going to be 20 one time. You're only going to be 21 one time. But what changes besides that age? You lose a little bit of time, sure, but why not use that time to build something? To build something that's going to last longer than a day, last longer than a month, last longer than 2 months. Why waste that? Why not keep these relationships that you've built with people that could last forever, could last a lifetime, but instead You'd rather just take the easy way out, not work for it. Friendships, relationships, anything. And I think that if something is worth having, it's worth working for. I think that's something that's really special about bodybuilding. You can't just have it. Bodybuilding is not something that you can just have. No one can give it to you. You can't shortcut it. It doesn't matter. There are no shortcuts. There is no how to, nothing. It is either put in the work and earn it, or you don't get to have it. And I think it is so beautiful about the sport of bodybuilding. It teaches you that, and it ingrains it in you, and it makes you, it helps you to learn that, realize that there are no shortcuts in anything that is worth having. And then lastly, don't let a bad experience polarize you. You know what I mean? I've been on TikTok a lot lately, uh, just in my free time. I'm a doom scroller, I have to admit. And something that I'll see a lot of um, people either repost, or I'll see it pop up on my feed. And it's just kind of like stuffed, like men and women both do it, where they just post about hating the other gender, or like men talking about, becoming a heartbreaker. Same thing with women, because they had a bad experience with one or two or with three. And I just feel like that's such a bitter way to think about everything. Like one of the posts that I can think of, that it's actually still in my mind. It was my New Year's resolutions, and this was from a girl's perspective, and it mentioned, you know, dressing cuter, being nice to everyone, and then in parentheses, except men. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why. You just talked about like have like a really good goal to have, a really nice thing, being nicer to everyone. That's awesome. And then you just like, I don't know, it's kind of just a backhanded thing, I guess, as it is. I do think that was kind of the main point of the post, anyways, was just to kind of be like, yeah, fuck men. But same thing goes for men, you know. But then I also see a post like I just saw that made me think to say something about it, and it talked about, it's this guy. I'm assuming that he was freshly out of a breakup or something, and it says, "If I ever fall for anyone again, which you will. That's just the way things go. There is someone out there still." But anyways, if I ever fall for someone again, I will still buy them flowers. I will still spend money on them. I will still, write the notes for them. I will still make them little gifts. Because, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what the last part of it said, but it's just basically the whole gist was, don't let one bad experience or one sad like heartbreak taint your whole perspective and taint your whole view of what a relationship can be, and and think that it's not for you just because one thing didn't work out. If you quit after something didn't work out for the first time, you wouldn't be where you are in life at all. You wouldn't have made it past being a toddler. You wouldn't have ever learned to walk. You would never learn. Would never have learned to ride a bike. You probably would have never learned to swim. You probably wouldn't have ever started that sport that you now love. Because if you, after failing, you quit, or you let that dictate your entire perspective on an entire culture, thing, person, whatever, then that's just going to be the end of it. How do you know that there's like, how you're not going to ever get to experience how great whatever that thing could be or is going to be, because you're being a child and you're letting that fear overtake you instead of realizing that it's going to be okay. That single experience was bad and I didn't like it, but that doesn't mean that every experience is going to be like that. And I heard a quote, I think it's from, well, I guess I didn't hear the quote, but I'm going to quote a show. I think it was Landman. And he's talking to his daughter and he's like, every, relationship you ever get into is going to crash and burn except the last one. And it's true. And that doesn't just mean between a man and a woman romantically. It can be platonic, friendships or relationships, anything. Opportunities in life. You are going to fail over and over and over until you don't. But if after the first time you fail, you quit, you are never going to reach the success. You're never going to be fulfilled by your person. You're never going to find your group of friends. You're never going to find your passion because you quit just because you didn't get it right the first time. And it hurt you. It hurt your ego. It hurt your feelings. It hurt your perception of what you thought something might have been or what you thought it was. Things change. You adapt, you grow, you learn. And that's what I think really the human experience is all about, is growing and learning and experiencing the hurt, experiencing the lonely, experiencing the sad, experiencing the happy, the excitement, the feeling of being fulfilled. That's all part of the human experience. And how beautiful is it that you get to experience that? Embrace the negative. Not in the way of staying in a depressive state, staying depressed, staying sad, keeping yourself all in a lousy mood. But I mean, embrace failure. Let yourself experience things without worrying about failing. Let your walls down. Try something new. Really give that thing that you've been wanting to do for months, for weeks, for days, years. Do it. And if you fail, you fail. Welcome to the club. You failed just like every other person who has ever tried something has done. Welcome to the human experience. And who knows? Maybe it only takes 2 times. And then you get it. And you love it. You get past that hard phase where it's just like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if this is worth it. And then something clicks. Again, this could be anything: playing guitar, bodybuilding, a sport that you love, a relationship with someone. And then it blooms and it grows into something that you never thought it could ever turn into or grow into. And it's the most special thing that you've ever experienced. But how do you know if you give up before you succeed? That's what I've been thinking about on my drive home. And I don't know. Think about it. Let yourself think about failure in a little bit of a different light. But that's all I got. We're gonna see you tomorrow for legs. We got hamstrings and triceps. So it's gonna be a good one. Have a good one.